You finally see through the illusion. You understand that the ego is not real. You recognize that most of what people chase doesn't actually matter. And then something strange happens. You feel like you can't get out of bed. Not because you're sad, not because something went wrong, but because the internal engine that used to drive you forward just stopped running. You thought awakening would light you up. You thought you'd finally feel clear and energized and free. Instead, you feel empty, flat, like someone turned down the volume on your life and forgot to turn it back up. This is one of the most confusing phases of awakening, and almost no one talks about it. Before we continue, if you're ready to break free from the repeating patterns that hold you back, check out my free guide, 5 Inner Blocks That Keep You from Deep Spiritual Growth. The link is waiting for you in the top comment below. Let me tell you what motivation used to feel like. It was that pressure in your stomach, that constant hum in the back of your mind, the feeling that you had to keep moving or you would fall behind. You woke up with a list. You went to bed thinking about tomorrow. There was always something to chase, something to prove, something to become. That engine ran on very specific fuel. You wanted to be someone. You needed people to like you. You were worried that you weren't good enough. You wanted to be seen as successful. You wanted people to respect you. You wanted to prove that you mattered. And so you worked, you pushed, you performed. Not because you loved what you were doing, but because stopping felt like failing. Then awakening happened. And suddenly all of that fell away. You saw through the game. You realized that the person you were trying to become was not real. It was just a story. You understood that chasing external validation was never going to fill that hole inside you. You recognized that most of your goals were not even yours. They were handed to you by your culture and by the need to fit in. And once you saw that, the engine just stopped. Because the fuel it ran on doesn't work anymore. This is where things get really confusing. You lose your sense of identity. You used to know who you were, or at least who you wanted to be. You were the ambitious one, the responsible one, the one who had it together. But now those labels feel hollow. You look in the mirror and you're not sure who's looking back. Things that used to excite you don't move you anymore. You scroll through your phone and nothing catches your attention. You think about the future and you feel nothing. No excitement, no fear, just nothing. You're exhausted, your body refuses to perform. You wake up tired, you go through the day in a fog. It's not that you're doing much, but your system is saying no. No more pushing, no more pretending, no more running on fumes. You can't find meaning in anything. The career you worked so hard to build feels pointless. The goals you set feel arbitrary. Even the things you used to care about feel distant and strange. You ask yourself, what's the point of any of this? And you don't have the answer. The mundane becomes unbearable. Small talk feels like torture. Daily tasks feel meaningless. You can't bring yourself to care about things that used to matter. Paying bills, answering emails, showing up to events. It all feels like you're playing a role in a play you never auditioned for. And here's what makes this so confusing. This isn't even depression. This is different. This is your system shutting down the old fuel source because you've seen through it. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't go back to caring about things that you now understand are illusions. You're not failing. You're somewhere in between. You're no longer asleep, but you're not yet fully awake into what comes next. This is some kind of a void, and this void doesn't have a map. This void you're in, thankfully, it's not permanent. It's a transit phase. Your system is reorganizing itself into a new operating system. Think of it this way: the old motivations were survival-based. They came from the part of you that was afraid of being left behind, afraid of not mattering, afraid of being exposed as not enough. But the new motivations, they're soul-based. And the soul doesn't rush. It doesn't panic. It doesn't operate on deadlines or 5-year plans. Here's what most people don't understand about awakening. They expect it to make everything easy. They think once you see the truth, life will just flow, money will show up, relationships will be effortless, everything will fall into place. But that's not how it works. Awakening doesn't give you more of everything. It strips away everything that is false first. It takes away the goals that weren't yours, the ambitions that were just fear in disguise, the relationships where you were just playing a role, the identity you constructed to survive. And then it leaves you sitting in the rubble of what once was your life, wondering what's left. This is the recalibration. Your body is learning to run on a different fuel. Your mind is learning to think in a different way. Your heart is learning to feel without the filter of the ego. But you can't force this process. You can't think your way through it. You can't strategize your way out of the void. You can only allow it. This is where people panic. They try to fix themselves. They look for the next technique, the next teacher, the next breakthrough that will bring back the drive. But that's just the ego trying to regain control. The way through is not to fight the emptiness, it's to go with it. Let yourself rest, let yourself be still. Let the changes happen at their own pace. Stop asking yourself what you should be doing. Stop forcing yourself to care about things that don't move you anymore. Just be here, in the void, without trying to escape it. Because something is happening beneath the surface. Something you can't see yet. Your system is rewiring itself. The old pathways are dissolving. New ones are forming. And eventually you start to feel it. A quiet pull. Not the loud, anxious ambition you had before. It's more like a gentle resonance. You feel drawn to something. Not because you think you should do it, not because it looks good or makes sense, but because it feels true. This is the new fuel source. It doesn't feel like motivation, it just feels right. You move because something inside you says yes. Not because you're trying to prove anything, not because you're afraid of what happens if you don't. You create because creation feels like breathing. You help because their pain touches something in you. You build because the vision won't leave you alone. This is what replaces the old engine. not drive, not ambition, but resonance. And it's softer, steadier, more honest. It won't burn you out because it's not running on fear. Before we wrap up, if you found this helpful and want to go deeper, remember that free download I mentioned, 5 inner blocks that keep you from deep spiritual growth. The link is waiting for you in the top comment below. Losing motivation after awakening is not failure, it's recalibration. The void is not the destination, it's only a passage. And the new motivation, it will feel different, quiet, steady, and real. So let yourself rest in the emptiness, let the old fuel burn out. What's coming next doesn't need to be forced. It just needs space to emerge. And when it does, you know, because it feels like home. And you know it's real.